Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be talking about the Auto-Vox T9 in America's biggest residential truck, the Ford F-250. Show you guys how easy it is to install and my thoughts and opinions about this unit. This is everything that comes with the Auto-Vox T9 kit. You guys get a backup camera. As you guys can see, it's not directly wired to the reverse. You get a massive amount of wire to go from the screen to the camera, and that is where the reverse signal is. You get two of the exact same fuse taps. I think this is a mistake on their end. I think one should have been different. Whole bunch of different connectors. Looks like you have BMW, you have Toyota, Honda, and Chevy and Ford. See a bunch of different connections for the mirror to mount onto. This is a hard fixed one, so this replaces your original mirror with a nice full screen backup camera. And then this is the wiring harness for this. This is a lot of wiring. I think they could have done with a bit smaller size cable, something shorter, so you're not having to tuck another 6 feet of wiring somewhere, but you have plenty of wiring here to get the job done. It's a completely different install than normally anticipated. As you guys can see here, majority of the wiring happens within the vehicle. You ground it, you put it to a fuse box, and then you run the cabling all the way to the reverse camera, and that's where you pick up your reverse signal. So that's very interesting. So let's go ahead and get this installed inside that truck. The next thing we want to do is remove the rear view mirror from the vehicle. In this case, we're going to use a T20, and we're going to loosen this nut right here. A couple of turns, and this will be ready to come right off. With this off the vehicle, the next thing you'll need to do is go ahead and remove any other possible nuts along the headliner that are holding this in place, because ultimately you want to be able to get to your fuse box or wherever all your power wires are. In the case of this particular truck, all the cables are just dangling here. There is no real fuse box within the cabin of the vehicle. If your car is equipped with a fuse box, you may use this instead of tapping wires directly. Use a provided add a fuse and replace the fuse that has constant 12 volts, and also replace the fuse that turns on when the vehicle is on. How you guys can check it is by using a digital multimeter and setting to DC 20, because the load will not exceed more than 20 volts. The next thing that you want to do is test all the fuses prior to turning on the vehicle. If one of them has voltage greater than 10, that one means that it constantly has battery, and you could use that for your battery requirement. Now for the alternating one, once you have tested all the fuses, then you have to find out which one turns on when the vehicle turns on. So to do this, all you will have to do, put the key into the ignition, and with the key in the ignition, you're going to want to turn the car over. Put your negative terminal on the ground or any metal. Then take the positive terminal and touch the fuse till you find one that supplies enough voltage to indicate that there is 12 volts. In this case, we have one right here that turns on at 10.2 volts. That means that this one can be used as your accessory fuse. This is how you use your multimeter to determine which fuses you need to tap. Now the correct way to put in your add a fuse, because orientation matters, the bottom spot is where your current fuse that you are taking out is going to go in. For instance, if we were replacing this 15 with an add a fuse, we would take the 15 and we would put it here on the bottom. The top is where your new fuse for your accessory is going to go. stick with the manufacturer's recommended setting. If your manufacturer does not provide you with a setting, you may either use the 5 or the 7.5 for most low voltage sensitive electronics. So now we have all these wires that we have to contend with. This is a lot of wires in my honest opinion. And let's break it down to what we have. First we have this one that looks like an RCA jack. We're going to completely ignore that because that's for an optional GPS that they don't provide. The next one is this black one that goes to our backup camera. And then we have a yellow one. This yellow one goes to, there's a little sticker right on there that'll tell you, the battery. So this one needs constant power. Then we have a black, that's your ground. And then we have a red one which says accessory. So we need two sources of power. We need one that always has power, and then we need one that powers on when the vehicle powers on. So this is going to be constant, and this is going to be when power is available. So we are almost done. All we have to do now is put the backup camera in the back of the vehicle and then run the cabling and plug everything in. So we need to figure out a location for this. It's got double-sided 3M tape. We could stick it here and then stick it to the license plate. But if your license plate's about to expire like this one, then you may want to refrain from that. Instead, try and find somewhere like this where you have metal and another body where you can stick it to, where it will create a somewhat permanent solution. Keep in mind this is tape. Don't know how good is it going to last, but you also have the ability to run your license plate hole into it like that, but the camera will be offset. The next thing you want to do is remove the brake light from the vehicle so you can see how to run your cables into the area. And then you're going to want to locate where the reverse lights are. In this case, this vehicle has previously already been tapped in the locations, so all I have to do is determine, and I don't have to because red is positive and black is negative. I only need the positive for this backup camera. So now that we are all done installing everything, wiring everything, we can officially go ahead and try this camera out. And it's dark enough so we'll be able to actually see the footage in its full glory. Let's go ahead, pull this little cover off, and then let's turn it on. So there's a little bit of a boot time, and now the camera's on and it is adjustable. Jesus Christ, you guys can see my truck, my Mustang, my wife's car, and it's nice enough so if you're backing up with a hitch, oh my god, look at that, you can actually see the bumper. This is the ultimate truck reverse camera. Now, you did hear me correct. This is a reverse camera, which means it records footage at all times. So while you are driving, you will be able to see what is going on behind you. And that is nice, especially when you're in a vehicle like this, when this is what's behind me. You can't see anything. You can't see anything out the back end of this truck. So this is amazing. I'm going to go ahead and say this is probably one of the best cameras, quality-wise, I have seen from Auto-Vox in a long time. Alright, so let's talk about the settings menu. In the settings, you have resolution of 1080p. You can't change that. Movie clip time, that's how many times is the footage going to record and re-record. So at 1 minute, you will have about maybe 500 files of 1 minute recording each. I would recommend changing that to at least the 3 minute mark, so that way you have more content, less files. The sound recording, you can turn on and off the ability to record the sound inside the car. The reverse line switch, what that means is when you put the truck into reverse, it'll automatically engage the backup camera screen because you can turn off the screen. If we come over here to general settings, so in general settings you have the beep, volume, language, and then in the language you have a choice between English, Dutch, Italian, French, and Chinese. And then this is where you can turn off the screen. For LCD power, 1 minute, 3 minutes, and off. If you set it to off, that means that when the unit turns on, it's going to automatically default to looking like a normal backup mirror. It won't have the screen turned on. 1 minute means that the screen will be on for 1 minute, so you'll be able to see everything through the camera's eyes for 1 minute. After 1 minute of driving, it will turn off and it'll look like a normal screen. So there is no setting to leave it on 24/7. And then of course you have the clock settings. In the clock settings you can do hour, minute, seconds, and then the date. So there it is. And it's telling me I gotta clean the SD card because this thing does hold an SD card down at the bottom part. And if you put the truck into reverse, it automatically angles it down because it knows you're going to be reversing. Now there are grid lines, believe it or not, and I got my grid lines to go away just by grabbing on the bottom, and then down here the grid lines may pop up. Let's see, there they are. So I got my grid lines to go away and now I can't get them to come back, which I can live with that. I can live with no grid lines. I'm not a particular fan of the grid lines. I think they're more of a nuisance than anything, but you can definitely make them hide away if you want them to be gone. So as you guys can see here, at night we have this halo effect happening on both sides. I'm going to show you what that is. Let me go ahead and put the e-brake on for safety. As we step out of the truck, we come back here, you guys will instantly notice what's causing the glare. It is nothing more than the lights for the license plate. So let's talk about just how great this backup camera is on this particular truck. I'm going in reverse right now. I'm going to go ahead and throw the truck into reverse, and we're going to start scooting backward towards that trailer. Now, the interesting part is, under normal circumstances, it would be hard to see the ball hitch, but here, as we get really, really close, we can just stop the truck and angle that ball hitch down into picture so we can see exactly where the two have to meet. Look at that. As a truck driver, I can't emphasize how great this is. I can literally just line it up, and this is just takes 2 seconds of pushing that trailer to the left while I'm taking it off the foot. But this is incredible. This is amazing, and the quality is stunning. Alright, so let's talk about my thoughts and my opinions on the Auto-Vox T9. I think the Auto-Vox T9 is a solid backup camera, and I'm not saying this because Auto-Vox has me as a sponsor. I'm saying this because, in my honest opinion, that camera is stunning. I think the quality is amazing. I think the features that it has is fantastic, and I think overall it is a great camera. Improvements, things that I would recommend, I would strongly recommend that from the factory they rotate the bracket on the camera hardware itself, so that way when you go to install it, the picture image is not upside down. I think that would be a great improvement. Other improvements or other feedback that I could give to them would be possibly simplify the wiring inside the vehicle. As a DIY install, it's a bit much on the wiring end, but it's pretty easy to do if you have even one wrench of experience, which means if you know how to take your tires off your car, you guys could install this. It's not complicated, and this video should definitely guide you through the process of installing it for yourself. If you guys have any questions about the product that I didn't talk about in the video, leave it down in the comments. I'll try my best to answer it. You could always email Auto-Vox as well. And finally, if you guys want to win your own T9, because I'm not giving away mine, if you guys want to win your own Auto-Vox T9, tell me, what is the last great movie you guys watched in theaters? Because of this pandemic, I don't think anybody's been to the movie theaters. So just reminiscing, what is the last great movie you guys watched? Thanks so much, and I'll see you all next time.